Stages now with just over 10 minutes to go of first practice here from Spa in Belgium. It's been a relatively untroubled affair except for one or two drivers. Fernando Alonso unable to do any laps, and more recently Jolyon Palmer sadly has had to sit out the last part of the session with problems on his car. They've got time to get that car sorted though for the second practice session. They get another hour and a half on Friday afternoon to continue the sort of testing work that they're doing, and hopefully he'll be back out as we just see Daniel Ricciardo making use of all of the curve through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. So Jolyon Palmer not playing any further part in this session. Just a few moments ago he caught up with Karun.
Jolyon, a bit of bad luck to start your weekend. What's gone on? Some sort of leak, we believe.
Yeah, we lost diff pressure, so there's a mechanical part on the back which is broken, so not ideal, but at least I've done 2 runs, so I'm missing the last 20 minutes. Yeah, it's been better than my last few Friday mornings, so that's progress anyway.
Well, good to see you still smiling. I mean, what do you expect for this weekend? Because Baku was really difficult for you guys, and similar characteristic around here. You guys learned from Baku? Have you made upgrades coming here?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is they're both engine sensitive, Baku and here, and I think Baku was tough. We were expecting this weekend to be quite tough. To be honest, we only ran the medium tyres. I think Kevin's going to have a run on the new soft tyres to see what he does on them. But we're not expecting it to be fantastic this weekend, but we'll see. I think, yeah, like I said, we've only run medium tyres so far, so I think by the time we stick on some softs, we can start to look further forward. It won't be as bad as Baku, I'm sure of that. But we'll see how much better it can be.
All right, thanks, Jolyon.
So Jolyon Palmer 19th in the standings at the moment, only one ahead of him. Jenson Button in 18th place with the only lap time McLaren has set, so not terribly encouraging start to the weekend for McLaren Honda. Lewis Hamilton's back on track. He's on a set of used soft tyres, so you wouldn't imagine that he's going to suddenly improve his lap time. That was a 1:53.7, so that's about 4 seconds down on his best today. Tony, just looking at some of the questions we're being asked using the hashtag C4F1, there's a lot of interest in the Max Verstappen versus Daniel Ricciardo battle, and particularly with Hamilton getting a penalty that we all know about. You know, people are asking, can Verstappen maybe get a pole? Which of them is going to out-qualify the other? You looked at, you assessed some of that gap. It has been close. What's been the gap just between, remind us, between Ricciardo and Verstappen?
Well, on a sample of 5 races, I think are comparable, 0.14 of a second.
So it's very tight.
It's tight, and you know, from when he came in with that Barcelona race, it was 0.4. Ricciardo qualified him by 0.4, and people were asking Max questions for the next couple of races. Are you surprised by his qualifying speed? Well, he's raised his game, or you know, as he said he would when he got used to the car, and it's very close between those two now. And I think in race conditions as well, he's sensational. Like he mugged him at turn 8 in Austria and all that kind of thing. So there's great respect between the two of them. And how long it takes it to kick off into not great respect and a bit of a battle, let's see.
Karun, what are your thoughts? Because, Germany was interesting, wasn't it? Because Verstappen pulled off that amazing move around the outside of Ricciardo, which was a bit risky, but well played at the start, but then didn't quite seem to have the race pace.
No, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, I spoke to Max about this. You know, Germany was his best qualifying against Ricciardo. Like Tony said, got closer within a tenth of what Daniel did. But in the race, Daniel beat him by nearly 7 seconds. And that was, you know, he had to move over, if you remember, at some stage because of the strategy. But when it all shook out at the end, Daniel was 7 seconds up the road. And I think that's significant for Daniel, because there was a lot of chat about, you know, Max's race pace being better than Daniel's, and you know, it's a tough challenge, but I think it's a good response from him. It's going to be they've got a great lineup. Look, you know, Red Bull have got 2 fantastic drivers, and also 2 drivers young enough to have a long future in Formula 1 and possibly with this team. So yeah, I think they've got a really balanced pairing. But as Tony just said, I think if the day comes when they're in a World Championship battle, like we've seen with Lewis and Nico, then I think the stakes are different. You know, today they're trying to pick up the pieces whenever the Mercedes hit each other or whenever there's a podium to be had. It's totally different than fighting for the World Championship.
Yeah, Karun's absolutely right there. He's spot on. And when it's interesting is when you get a race like, say, Hungary, and they were told before the start of that race, you know, you're going to have Vettel behind you, and it's going to be really difficult for you to keep him behind you at the first pit stop, because obviously he's going to try and undercut you, and we can't bring in on the same lap. and you have Verstappen on the radio saying, you know, the car in front is not going fast enough. And of course, he's talking about Ricciardo, and so you get all those little niggles coming in about getting the priority at the pit stop, and that's when because that can mess your race, as it did for him. Then he came out behind Kimi Räikkönen and got stuck. So that was that, you know, that one out the window, and you know, obviously Daniel's right up the road. So it gets them all a bit, you know, a bit edgy and a bit difficult.
Yeah, fascinating. And if they are fighting for the championship next year, well, we could be in for a real feast, couldn't we? Let's see. Of course, 2017 with the new regulations could bring Red Bull back into the picture, could bring Ferrari more back into the picture, or will it allow Mercedes just to keep on where they are right now? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. But right now we're still focused on this year's World Championship. Still finely balanced, although Hamilton may have taken the lead in the points. 19 ahead with the grid penalties that he will have here. There's a chance for Rosberg to kind of swing that pendulum of momentum his way again.
Yeah, what happened on the back straight? I lost completely the power. It was a derating issue. We hit the release limit, so yeah, we see it, we understand it. Okay.
It's always great hearing Grosjean talk about the power in his own particular way, but complete loss of power. But it's now, I don't know if that's, yeah, he seems to have lost power again there, whether that's because he went wide, but suddenly we see him going quite slowly, and the light flashing. They said it was a derating issue. That would appear, let's just see, did he actually go off here? Final part of them, yeah, he had a big sideways moment. Okay, so that would explain why we saw him going so slowly. That wasn't a problem of power, that was a problem of getting a bit too carried away through the gravel trap. Thankfully, I don't think he would have done any damage to the car and brought it back on.
See if you can do that CSL then, so you're clear behind Rosberg, 8 seconds back. Yeah, do the CSL, I don't understand anything to the car.
I don't know if it's a particularly straightforward session for those guys. We're just seeing a few more cars come out in the closing moments of this session. Ricciardo, Bottas and Verstappen have all come back out again. There's Kevin Magnussen on a set of the medium, or no, the test tyre. Is he on the test tyre? Let's just see. Yes, I think he's on the test tyre. It's got a tiny bit of marking on it, but it's